1.
Okay, Wildcats, today we're going to journal page 61, add and subtract rational expressions. Adding and subtracting rational expression steps. Step 1, factor the denominators. Step 2, find the common denominator and multiply by a special one. Step 3, simplify the numerator. Step 4, factor the numerator and divide out common factors. Okay, if you would, update your notes. Okay, now your notes are updated. Let's take a look at the examples. All right, simplify the following expressions. So here you see that they have the same denominator, so you add the numerators. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's 3 divided by 2. Now, in example 2, you can see that they do not have the same denominators, so we need to change this denominator so they're the same so we can combine. So we want this to be 15, so we need to multiply this by 3. So we have 2 fifths, but you can't just multiply the 5 times 3. You have to multiply the 2 by 3 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So really you're multiplying 2 fifths times 1, which is just 2 fifths. Okay, so plus 7 fifteenths. Okay, well now 5 times 3 is 15, so the denominators are the same. So now we just multiply 2 times 3 is 6 and add to 7. So 6 plus 7 is 13 divided by 15. Okay. Now, this one's a little different in that we need to have the same denominator. Now, the fastest and easiest way to get the denominator is multiply 12 times 8. So 12 times 8 is 96. Okay. Now, so to make this the same denominator, we're going to multiply 12 by 8 and 8 by 12. So that's 11 twelfths times 8 divided by 8 minus 3 divided by 8 times 12 divided by 12. Now, we know the denominator will be 96. Now here we have 88 minus 36. Which is 52. Now, you always want to simplify these fractions. So we think that, well, we can divide both of these numbers by 2 to reduce, okay? So if we do that, adjust the lighting real quick on this. Okay, so if we do 52 divided by 2, that's 26, and we do 96 divided by 2, that's 48. We can see that we can divide again to reduce. So let's do 26 divided by 2 is 13, and 48 divided by 2 is 24. Okay, so we can see that this reduces to be 13 divided by 24. Now, we could have done this in a faster step if we would have caught that they're both divisible by 4. If you'd have done 52 divided by 4, you'd have gotten 13, and 96 divided by 4 is 24. Okay? All right? So let's take a look at example 4. Okay? Now, you see here that they both have the same denominator, okay, which is 4x minus 1. And then we combine the numerator. So 2x and 3x is 5x. And negative 3 and 4 combines to be plus 1. Right, example 5. Now, this one, same thing. Okay, The denominators are the same, so it's 4x plus 5, but this one you have to be careful. You're subtracting, and you're subtracting all of this, okay? So you have 3x minus 4 minus 5x plus 3, okay? So then really you have to multiply these by negative 1. So that's equal to 3x minus 4 minus 5x minus 3 divided by 4x plus 5. And then here, well, 3x minus 5x is negative 2x. And negative 4 and negative 3 combine to be negative 7. And then that's divided by 4x plus 5. Okay, going to finish up example 5. All right, let's take a look at example 6. All right, now this one, as you can see, they're starting to get more complicated as we go through. Here, we need to factor this first to find out what the denominator here, so we can figure out what we need to multiply x plus 1 by, okay? So we're going to factor the denominator. We know that it's going to be, since it's a trinomial, 2 parentheses. Okay, we're not going to do anything with the x minus 1 yet, and we're not going to do anything with the x divided by x plus 1. Okay, now we know x and x makes x squared. Now we need to think about what two numbers multiply to give you 2, combined to be 3. Okay, well, we know that 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So our factors are x plus 2, x plus 1. And actually, let me write this as x plus 1 plus 2, because the x plus 1 is on the left here. Okay. Now, in order to combine these, we need to multiply this by x plus 2. But you can't just multiply by x plus 2. You have to multiply by x plus 2 divided by x plus 2, because that's that special one. This divided becomes 1, so we haven't changed this. We've manipulated it so they have the same denominator. Okay? Okay? So now, our denominator is x plus 1, x plus 2. Now, we have x minus 1 in the numerator. And now here, we need to multiply the x times x and x, or times 2. So this is x times x is plus x, 1x squared, and x times 2 is plus 2x. Now we need to reorder the terms from highest exponents to lowest. So this is x squared plus 2x minus 1 divided by x plus 1, x plus 2. All right. Now we need to factor this numerator. So we know that that's 2 parentheses. We know that x and x makes x squared. And we need to think, what two numbers can we multiply? Oh, wait a second. Almost made a mistake. I have x squared correct, but I left out this x. That makes a difference to the problem. So we need to combine 1x and 2x is 3x. Okay, now that changes things a little bit, because before you go into drawing the parentheses, which should be your first instinct most of the time, but in this time, what you want to do is let's check to see if this is even factorable. So we need to find all the combinations to make negative 1 combined to be 3. Well, the only combination to make negative 1 is 1 and negative 1. Well, when you combine, that becomes 0. So this is not factorable. So your answer is this. And that's a terrible plus 1. Let me rewrite that. Okay. So you can see kind of by my mistakes and rethinks that sometimes these problems, you want to actually go back and look at it and make sure and follow through steps and be willing to take a step back and make adjustments to get to the correct answer, okay? All right, example 7. Same thing, we need to factor this denominator. So we're going to leave this one alone, but we're going to leave space just in case we need to multiply this by something. Okay, so plus, and really that says plus a minus a negative 18, so really we should just say minus 18 divided by, and we want to factor this. Well, this is the difference of squares, so we know that this factors to be x plus 3 times x minus 3. Now, in order for these to have the same denominator, we need to multiply x plus 3 times x minus 3. But you can't just multiply that by x minus 3. You need to multiply it by x minus 3 divided by x minus 3. That's that special one. Now the denominator is the same. We can combine the numerators. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. And then minus 18. Divided by, and you want to always leave your final answer in factored form. X plus 3 times x minus 3. Now remembering what happened here is before we start writing anything else, let's see if the numerator is factorable. Okay, so we need to find all the combinations to make negative 18. Well, we know that 1 times negative 18 is negative 18. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work. 6 times 3, or negative 3, is negative 18. Now, we need to combine these and find the one that gives you negative 3. So 1 minus 18 is negative 17. That doesn't work. 2 minus 9 is negative 7. That doesn't work. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. That works. So we know that this factors, okay, as x plus 3 times x minus 6 divided by x plus 3 times x minus 3. Now, this shows you the reason why it's important that you factor completely to simplify is here we found another special one. This divides and becomes 1. So our final answer is x minus 6 divided by x minus 3. Okay, if you would go ahead and finish up example 7. All right, let's take a look at example 8. Okay, and again, we need to factor the numerators. This doesn't need to be factored, but we need to factor this. So that's equal. And we can actually, let's leave that alone. So that's 2x squared minus 16. We know that the denominator here factors to be x plus 2x minus 2, because that's the difference of squares, minus, and I'm going to put this in parentheses because we're subtracting both the terms here, divided by x plus 2. And you can see here we need to multiply this by x minus 2. Okay? So then we need to simplify the numerator. So that's 2x squared minus 16 minus, we need to FOIL this. So x times x is x squared minus 2x plus 4x minus 8. And that's all divided by x plus 2x minus 2. Okay? So now let's continue to simplify the numerator. So it's 2x squared minus 16 minus 1x squared plus 2x. We're distributing the negative 1 minus 4x plus 8, all divided by x plus 2 divided by x minus 2. Okay, so now let's continue to simplify. 2x squared minus 1x squared is just x squared. So whenever I'm simplifying, I shade out the ones I'm done with to help me see what's left. Okay, so now 2x minus 4x is minus 2x. Okay, and then negative 16 and 8 is a minus 8. Divided by x plus 2, x minus 2, okay? Now, we need to see and find if there's a combination that multiplies to be negative 8 and combines to be negative 2. So we know that 1 times negative 8 is negative 8. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And I think 3 does work. 4, and I think we might need to add another line. Let's see if we can add one here. Might be small, but I think we can do it. Perfect. All right, we know that 3 doesn't work. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Now we need to combine to see if we can combine to be negative 2. Well, 1 minus 8 is negative 7. That doesn't work. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. That works. So this factors. So this factors to be x plus 2 times x minus 4 divided by x plus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, and you'll see here that, again, there's a special 1. This divides and becomes 1. So your final answer is x minus 4 divided by x minus 2. Okay, go ahead and finish up example 8. All right, now let's finish up with example 9, leaving the most fun for last. So you can see here that we need to factor the denominator here and here. Okay, so we have x, I'm going to put a 1x plus 7, and we need to factor this. So we know it's going to be 2 parentheses. Okay, we know that x times x is x squared. Now, with a big number like 42, a fast way to find all the factors is you can use your calculator. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to On, New Document, No, Add Graph, and I'm going to do 42 divided by x, and I'll explain why in just a few seconds. Oh, enter. Control T, don't care about the graph, care about the table. The table will show you all the factors. So we know that 1 times 42 gives you 42. These will not combine to be 13, so we move on. These combine to be or multiply to be 42, but do not combine to be 13, so we move on. These multiply to be 42, but don't combine to be 13. That doesn't work because it's decimal. That doesn't work because it's decimal. Excuse me. Sorry about that. All right, so we have 6 times 7 gives you 42, and 6 plus 7 combines to be 13. So the factors are x plus 6 and x plus 7. Okay? Now, we're going to minus. We need to leave space just in case we need to multiply the denominator and numerator. 10x. Now we need to factor here. We know 2 parentheses. I feel like I'm going to have to add some space here. Okay. Now we know x and x makes x squared. Now this one's easy. We need to find the two numbers that multiplied to give you 7 combined to be 8. Well, the answer to that is x plus 1, x plus 7. Okay. Now, the common denominator has to have each of these terms. Well, this has x plus 6, this has x plus 7, but it's missing x plus 1. So we need to multiply this by x plus 1. But you have to multiply by x plus 1 divided by x plus 1. Now, this one has x plus 1, x plus 7. It's missing x plus 6. We need to multiply this by x plus 6 divided by x plus 6. Okay? Now we have the common denominator. Now we need to simplify the numerator. So we're going to FOIL this and distribute that. So x times x is x squared. X times 1 is 1x. 7 times x is plus 7x. 7 times 1 is plus 7. Minus 10x times x is 10x squared. Negative 10x times 6 is a negative 60x. Divided by x plus 1 times x plus 6 times x plus 7. Now we need to continue to simplify the numerator. So we have x squared minus 10x squared is negative 9x squared. And again, I recommend marking out when you use them. And the reason being is, notice I didn't do that here, and I made that mistake. Okay, had I done here 1x squared, shaded that out, I would have seen that the 1x and 2x were left, and then so on, okay? So that's why this shading is very useful, okay? Because then you can see what you have left. So now we have 1x, 7x is 8x, minus 68 is minus 52x. So shade this out. And you can see all you have left is plus 7. Divided by x plus 1, x plus 6, x plus 7. Okay? Now, in essence of time, I'm just going to save you the trouble and time and let you know that this is not factorable. So when it's not factorable, you just leave it as is.